Hi everyone. I'm scared shitless here. That may sound stupid coming from somebody who's been on stage and who's been on movie sets and whatnot with some pretty impressive people, but see, in those circumstances, I'm in control. By that I mean is I know exactly what I'm going to say because they're called lines in a movie. And here, I have no idea what I'm going to say or even what it's going to sound like. So that's a big step for me. And of course, the other big step for me is the fact that I'm never looking into a camera. So that's the worst thing you can do if you're an actor. Camera shouldn't even exist. But here, I guess, because we're talking tete-a-tete, I guess, going to have to get used to that world, and hopefully I can differentiate from this world to my on-set world, or I'm liable to get a few slaps to the side of the head from the director saying, "Stop looking in the lens." Anyway, enough of that. Listen, I thank everybody who responded to my introductory post. And Dan at Starlight tells me that it went well, which makes me very happy, and the comments that I got were wonderful. So I appreciate that very much, and I'll try to do my best to live up to some of the suggestions that people were making. Just great. But again, I know bugger all about doing these types of posting. I'm sure I'll get better at it. So I'm just going to continue to just fly by the seat of my pants and talk about whatever comes to my mind. So if that's all right with you, then maybe that's where we'll start. As a matter of fact, where will we start? You know something? I've got some music playing in the background. I'll look at this post when it's finished and maybe decide not to have music going in the background. But when I write, I almost always have faint music going in my background, but usually music that inspires me, and there's a lot of it. I'm easily inspired, I guess. But in this case, I've been listening to Ed Sheeran here quite a bit over the last, I'm going to say, month. And I really like his stuff. But I like it particularly because this kid's a genius storyteller. I mean, oh, God. I mean, what's playing now? Castle on a Hill. Just in the way he starts out, when I was 6 years old, I broke my leg. And then he takes it from there and paints these images, which are just incredible for me. And it goes on with a dozen of songs. If you want to hear a heartfelt song about inner turmoil, just listen to the last song in his album called Save Myself. It'll blow your mind. How a 20-year-old or 25-year-old ever comes up with that stuff, I'll never know. But kudos to him. He's got a hell of a future, in my opinion. In spite of the plagiarism accusations that have been flying on him, you just look at the talent in all the albums that he's done, and there's bound to be some conflict somewhere with someone. But it goes without saying, it's the storytelling that really makes it work for me. And it's the same in film. When you're screenwriting, it's all about story. And you're going to be surprised to find that there are probably only 7 to 10 different stories. Let me just go here and check something out. And those stories have actually labels to them. They're going to be names like, I'm just trying to find a couple of here, Monster in the House. Just think of a film where there's a monster in the house. They're all over the place. The Quest, Fish Out of Water, Rite of Passage. Rite of Passage is one that I'm working on right now, so we'll be talking about that maybe in a minute. There are between 7 and 10 of them. And if you don't believe that, and it's hard to believe when you think of all the films that are out there, but they can be all categorized into one of the 7 to 10 story categories. If you want to just check that out for yourself, go back and look at a film called Dances with Wolves, and then look at a film called Avatar before the new one comes out. And you will see they are the exact same story, but set in different timelines and different locations and so on, but virtually the same exact story. As a matter of fact, whether it was a story that your mom and dad told you before you or to tuck you into bed at night, or whether it was a story that you were telling around the campfire, those stories as well will be categorized. It can be categorized into these same classifications. And not only are the stories classified accordingly into one of these specific genres, you also have within a story a certain format that goes right back through the ages. You know, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Today it's been modernized a little bit, but truth be told, there's a pattern to it all. And, you know, when it's refined to its nth degree, really all going to the film to a movie theater it's the new fire. It's the new campfire. You're all collected around the screen. The screen's the kind of campfire, and there's these images up there telling you a story and what you eventually become involved in real time as something that's going to affect you one way or another. So it's not as off the top of the head as you might think. It's just not that. I'm going to, as I say, just share thoughts like this with you. I'll tell you some interesting anecdotes sometimes, like I won't elaborate now, but the time I had to plant my fat ass into a dugout canoe in the Panama Lake system that feeds the Panama Canal, and cattle and canoe along, not knowing that I was going through weed beds with crocodiles all around. Of course, they didn't tell me beforehand. They only told me after I completed the shoot. That's called a director's technique. But stuff like that we'll talk about. But I think maybe I want to start with what I'm working on now. Okay, and it's a screenplay that has won awards. I've encountered a lot of roadblocks with this screenplay, mostly of my own doing. I planned to shoot it last year. I had to postpone that. So now I'm shooting it hopefully late fall this year or early January. But an idea for a film starts with a log line, which is designed to create some interest and is designed to indicate some conflict that's going to make all of it interesting. But there's one thing that you've got to understand, that if you are going to be a writer, is you're going to have to make sure that you're telling stories about yourself. They're your stories. It's something that you want to share, and it's something that you're compelled to share. And what we want to see are stories that people share with us that will give us insight into a slice of life that may help us be more prepared for our own lives in the future or whatever. But, you know, I mean, examples of that are all over, but the most recent one is, a most recent one would be Moonlight, the film. I mean, wow. You got a small budget film there that just was so powerful. I mean, insight into this young man's life that was just wild. Could never think something like that possible. And the interactions for this kid, unbelievable. I was crying like a baby after I saw that, and I knew the minute I saw it, it was going to be right up there on the contender for the award, the big award. I don't know why, you just sometimes get a feeling for that. Another one was The Best Little Marigold Hotel. Just told a neat story. Anyway, enough of that. But that's what log lines have to convey. They have to convey that interest right from the start. So I'm going to share the log line, as I say, with this film I'll be doing hopefully in this fall. And here it is. After the death of his estranged son, a gay 65-year-old washed up one-hit wonder rock star, desperate for one last hit, unknowingly has sex with his best friend, or with the best friend of his grandson, who he's never met, but discovers is a singer-songwriter. I might punch that up a bit, but that would be where I would start to write the screenplay. I've got to have this idea in my mind, and the screenplay, as I would write it, has got to be has got to do justice to the log line. I've got other log lines that I'll share with you on other postings, but I think, oh my God, it's in 11 minutes. Oops, I don't know if that's too long or not too long. But anyway, let's call it there for today, and then we'll see what I can do about getting the other one underway. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take care. Have a great day.